Good morning. It's Saturday, February 27th. And on Thursday, the minimum wage provision of the stimulus package was shot down by the Senate parliamentarian. And I'm telling you now that a living minimum wage affects all of us. Here's what you need to know. The stimulus package was running through the Senate under something called budget reconciliation. Under budget reconciliation, the rules are different than the normal rules in getting a bill passed through the Senate. Normally, you need 60 votes to get something passed. But under budget reconciliation, you only need 50 votes to get it passed. So the Democrats should get it passed because they have the 50 votes. But there are rules when you can use the 50 votes. And so, under budget reconciliation, a bill must not increase the federal deficit after a 10-year budget window. And so, parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough ruled that the minimum wage hike did not fit the parameters of budget reconciliation. And so it went down the tube. Biden, however, was not surprised by this, and he quickly made an announcement that said he is prepared to write a standalone bill for the $15 an hour. Now, that will be a regular bill passing through the Senate, and it will need 60 votes. So that might be so easy to get. Now, I can't understand why any senators or congressmen, for that matter, would be voting against raising the minimum wage. Seems to me that would help a lot of people who vote. So I don't quite understand why there would be many people in our government against raising the minimum wage. As it stands right now, 66% of the American voters are in favor of raising the minimum wage. We have not had a minimum wage increase since 2007. And that was fully phased in by 2009. So since 2009, we haven't raised any minimum wage. Now, if you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, that would be over $16,000 for people currently making the $7.25 an hour minimum wage. Their salary would increase by $16,000 a year. Now, in my mind, I always felt that a raise in the minimum wage would be followed by a raise in consumer prices in order for people to make up the difference between what they were paying their workers and what they had to now pay their workers. But it turns out that that is not really true. When the minimum wage is increased, spending in the United States goes up by a considerable amount. And the cost of goods and services do not follow the increase in wages that closely. They are below what I expected them to be. But there's another interesting thing that goes on. Many taxpayers will get an advantage. They won't really see this advantage, but this is what will happen. If the minimum wage is increased, then the cost of programs like SNAP and Medicaid, which provide food and health care for low-income families, the cost of those programs will go down because the low-income families will now rise above the level needed to qualify for those public assistance programs. So this is a win-win situation for the taxpayers too, because parts of our tax money goes into paying for those programs. So you see, raising the minimum wage has benefits beyond helping the lower income families. It helps everybody in general. It puts more money out in the marketplace for people to spend. It will reduce the amount of money needed to support welfare programs. For instance, In some research that was done related to the SNAP program, SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. Spending would fall by an estimated $5.3 billion a year if the minimum wage was raised to $12 an hour. That means we would be saving taxpayers more than 7%, or $50 billion in the next decade. Now, on top of that, the University of California at Berkeley did a study, and they found that U.S. taxpayers foot the bill for over $150 billion in government assistance programs, which benefit the low-wage workers. So we're spending $152 billion because many states, many government officials, and many businesses don't want to raise the minimum wage. They don't want to pay a living minimum wage. And so we are spending $152 billion in welfare program money, when this could be avoided by paying a living minimum wage. Does that make any sense to you? And it even makes less sense when you consider that these people will be spending more money out in the marketplace. So a living minimum wage reduces the welfare program money that we're giving out, and we could use that money for infrastructure or whatever, raise the level of people's living and their ideals for life, and it wouldn't really cost us that much. So I don't know why there is so much opposition to this. 66% of the people in this country are in favor of raising the minimum wage. So 34% of the people are not in favor of it. Why are they not in favor of it? Why are they not in favor of it? Do they have it so bad that they look to have somebody lower than them? I'm certain of those 34% of the people, none of them are minimum wage workers. Those are people who have made it already. Are they worried that the minimum wage people will now rise up and pass them? Minimum wage has a lot more to it than just looking at the dollar value. It affects the whole country. There's no reason not to raise the minimum wage. There is no real good reason not to raise the minimum wage. So as I said before, the minimum wage affects all of us. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.